Once upon a time, when wishes came true, there was a king's son who was enchanted by an old witch, so that he was obliged to sit in a large iron stove in a wood. There he lived for many years, and no one could free him. At last, a king's daughter came into the wood. She had lost her way, and could not find her father's kingdom again. She had been wandering round and round for 9 days, and she came at last to the iron case. A voice came from within and asked her, "Where do you come from, and where do you want to go?" She answered, "I have lost my way to my father's kingdom, and I shall never get home again." Then the voice from the iron stove said, "I will help you to find your home again, and that in a very short time, if you will promise to do what I ask you. I am a greater prince than you are a princess, and I will marry you." Then she grew frightened and thought, "What can a young lassie do with an iron stove?" But as she wanted very much to go home to her father, she promised to do what he wished. He said, "You must come again and bring a knife with you to scrape a hole in the iron." Then he gave her someone for a guide, who walked near her and said nothing, but he brought her in 2 hours to her house. There was great joy in the castle when the princess came back, and the old king fell on her neck and kissed her. But she was very much troubled and said, "Dear father, listen to what has befallen me. I should never have come home again out of the great wild wood if I had not come to an iron stove, to whom I have had to promise that I will go back to free him and marry him." The old king was so frightened that he nearly fainted, for she was his only daughter. So they consulted together and determined that the miller's daughter, who was very beautiful, should take her place. They took her there, gave her a knife, and said she must scrape at the iron stove. She scraped for 24 hours, but did not make the least impression. When the day broke, a voice called from the iron stove, "It seems to me that it is day outside." Then she answered, "It seems so to me. I think I hear my father's mill rattling." "So you are a miller's daughter? Then go away at once, and tell the king's daughter to come." Then she went away, and told the old king that the thing inside the iron stove would not have her, but wanted the princess. The old king was frightened, and his daughter wept. But they had a swineherd's daughter who was even more beautiful than the miller's daughter, and they gave her a piece of gold to go to the iron stove instead of the princess. Then she was taken out, and had to scrape for 24 hours, but she could make no impression. As soon as the day broke, the voice from the stove called out, "It seems to be daylight outside." Then she answered, "It seems so to me too. I think I hear my father blowing his horn." "So you are a swineherd's daughter? Go away at once, and let the king's daughter come. And say to her that what I foretell shall come to pass. And if she does not come, everything in the kingdom shall fall into ruin, and not one stone shall be left upon another." When the princess heard this, she began to cry, but it was no good. She had to keep her word. She took leave of her father, put a knife in her belt, and went to the iron stove in the wood. As soon as she reached it, she began to scrape, and the iron gave way, and before 2 hours had passed, she had made a little hole. Then she peeped in, and saw such a beautiful youth, all shining with gold and precious stones, that she fell in love with him on the spot. So she scraped away harder than ever, and made the hole so large that he could get out. Then he said, "You are mine, and I am thine. You are my bride, and have set me free." He wanted to take her with him to his kingdom, but she begged him just to let her go once more to her father, and the prince let her go, but told her not to say more than 3 words to her father, then to come back again. So she went home, but alas, she said more than 3 words, and immediately the iron stove vanished and went away over a mountain of glass and sharp swords. But the prince was free, and was no longer shut up in it. Then she said goodbye to her father, and took a little money with her, and went again into the great wood to look for the iron stove. But she could not find it. She sought it for 9 days, and then her hunger became so great that she did not know how she could live.